Recently, my client Jordan asked me to discuss the idea of death. Now, she was working in an environment to where she was actually talking to a girl in her late 20s who was potentially facing death soon. So how do we even approach the topic of death? Now, this request was made a month or two ago, and I've been contemplating in how to bring this topic up, and it wasn't until this week that it felt right. And it makes sense because Tuesday was the 40-year anniversary to my good friend Josh dying. And also earlier in the week, I had a conversation with someone close to me. And this past Sunday, they literally just watched a close loved one die. And as we even see the war that is going on in the Ukraine, there is death, and within every war, there is always death that occurs. So finally, it feels right to have this talk about death. Now, the first thing I want to say, you are going to die. We are all at some point in life going to die. And we don't know if that is going to be tomorrow. We don't know if that's going to be today. For many of us, hopefully we live later into our years, but it's not guaranteed. And except for the small portion who end their own life, we don't know when it's going to happen. We don't know how it's going to happen. Many of us hope for a peaceful death, but for many of us, it's going to be tragic. So how do we go about our lives every day with this just hovering reality that death is just around the corner somewhere waiting for us? Now, we can live in two different states. We can live in absolute fear our entire lives, knowing that at some point it will end. Or we can use this reality to live every day in a way that matters. Now, that doesn't mean that every single day is going to be the perfect, most productive day in our lives. But I try to live my life knowing that if I die today or if I die tomorrow, I have done my best to get the most out of the time I've been provided. And the idea of time is really just this made up concept that allows us to live with a little more structure. But at the same time, time is everything we really even have. Because when we die, we don't know what happens next. Many of us have beliefs of where we're going. And many of us need those beliefs to keep pushing us forward on those days when we may not want to live through this hardship anymore. Now, with this understanding, we can gain and hold on to this true respect for life, for its fragility, for its significance, and for the blessing that we're provided every single day. Or we can live in fear. We can live in fear every single day, knowing that we're going to die and just hoping that our life isn't too painful, or just hoping that our death isn't too painful. But life is pain, and life is death. And when we truly accept that death is the final beauty in life, we are gifted a freedom to no longer live under the opinions or the confinement of others. Living with the freedom of knowing that it is solely up to you to make the most out of what you are doing within your life. It truly gives you that freedom to live a life deserving of a glorious death. I want to know your thoughts on death. Do you fear death? Does death motivate you to live your best life every single day? I believe death can be the most inspiring and freeing topic. For those of you who might actually like to hear me discuss the idea of death even more, I could attempt to bring on some professionals, medical professionals, psychology professionals, and discuss the idea more in depth. So if you would like to hear more, or if you have your own thoughts that you'd like to share to me, please, let's discuss this. Shoot me a message or comment those below. Thank you, and live your life as a blessing.